Hey, sounds like you need some help changing your watch battery. Well, you are in the right place. Today's video is going to show you how to identify what kind of case back that you have, what tools you need, and how to change the different type of case backs. So if you know exactly what you have already, go ahead and go to the description because there'll be timestamps below so that you can jump ahead. Otherwise, let's get into the video.
Subscribe to my dad's YouTube channel.
So there are multiple different types of case backs, and it's important to understand what kind of case back you have so that you can properly remove it and change out your battery. So the first one that we want to identify or understand how to identify is by looking at the case back. So if you have a snap or cap case back, look along the seams of your watch and you will identify a small rivet, if you can see here. And that's how you know that this is a snap or cap case back, because the tool will be inserted here to pop it out. I'll give you another example. So once again, we have our Timex American Document series here. Looking around, you don't see anything, you don't see any major things. And then right around here, you see there's something slightly different. This is the point of insertion so that you can snap off the case back and change out the battery. Now, that's for the snap and cap case backs. Maybe you have a screw down case back. The way to identify that is by looking at the case and seeing these small rivets. What these are is where pliers or a tool such as this one, which we'll get into later, are inserted to twist off the case back so that you can expose the movement and change the battery. The last one, which is the easiest, the funnest, and I'll just put it in here mostly for fun, is going to be the coin case back. If you got one of these, they're pretty easy to switch out because you just need a coin. But let's get into the tools that you might need for all of these different straps. So when looking at tools, maybe you don't actually have a watch battery toolkit, which you can get on Amazon for about $15. If I ever get the affiliate program, I'll put a link down in my description, but otherwise I'll just try to do a link anyway, just so you can see what they look like. But in that case back, in that toolkit, you're gonna find something like this. This is a tool where this end goes inside of the case back to pop it off. But if you don't have one of these, you could also use something such as this, which is just a multi-tool, the flathead portion of it, of a screwdriver, or anything that is small and flat and easily insert into something small like that. The other thing you could use for different case backs is going to be a tool like this. So this is going to be the tool for the screw down case backs. How it works is you move this and it gets larger and smaller, and that's how you determine how to slide it into your case back and twist it off. And for the last case, pretty easy, you just get a coin. Now we're going to flip this coin. Heads is good luck, tails is bad luck. Let's see what we got today. Where did it fall? Guys, it was heads. So today's your lucky day. It looks like your battery's going to be working after all. The other thing you want to do in addition to the tools is make sure that you have the right batteries for the job. Every watch requires a different type of battery. And so the first thing that you want to do, if possible, is just Google the watch. By Googling the watch, you may be able to see what kind of battery it has online, and then it makes it much easier for the process. But if you aren't able to Google it, the next step will probably be to remove the case back, identify the battery, and then go get the battery afterwards. So in this case, I'll show you how to identify the batteries as well as we go through each case back and each watch. So like I said, we're going to start with the snap and cap case backs. So as I said, once you find the portion here that needs to be inserted, use a tool like this. You will insert it into that little gap. Ensure that you're trying to be as gentle as you can so you don't scratch your watch. As you saw there, I got it in, twisted it, and that popped off the case back. And so in this case, the case back has been removed. And for this one, we are working with a CR1216 lithium cell battery. And so typically when changing out your batteries, you'll be able to identify them directly on the battery themselves. So let me go ahead and pull out this battery so that we can switch it out. Once you have your new battery, you're gonna go ahead, ensure it has the same orientation as when it came out of the watch, and place the case back on the same way that you found it. Depending on the watch, some case backs are easier or harder to put back on. I believe this one will be pretty easy, but when applying the case back, make sure that you have a soft surface or just strong hands so you don't have to place it down. You'll usually hear an audible clip, and making sure that there's no space, and then let's take a look. And there we go. This watch is working. Let's go ahead and move on to the other snap case back so you can just see it another time. So as you move in to do these watches, make sure that you are watching out what you're doing. So to prevent potential scratching on the watch. Now, when you're looking for something that can go into these case backs, you want something as thin as possible so that it reduces the probability of it reaching up and scratching. So as you hear, I get it into that case back portion, apply a little pressure, and voila, I got it. And you saw in that case, it did take a little bit of pressure and some focus in putting that on there. And even in this case, I wasn't as careful as I needed to be, and I got a small scratch on there. That can be buffed out, and if you guys are interested in how to get scratches out of your watch, please let me know, and I'll make a video about that as well. But after you remove the case back, same as the one before, every watch is a little different, so you got to look at how to actually remove the battery in this instance. So in this case, the battery is located underneath this. So I'm going to pop this off here. So in this instance, we realized that this battery is a 373. So this is one of those instances in which I didn't know the battery type, and so I have to go back and order it. So if that's the case, I'd recommend putting the case back onto the watch to keep the watch safe, or storing the watch in a safe location until you're able to get the battery and complete the assembly. So for this time, I'm going to sit this watch in a safe location, and we'll get back to this one later. The next watch case back we're going to cover is going to be the screw down case back. So for this one, you're going to make sure that you have all your tools assembled, as we identified earlier. This is the tool that I'll be using, but you could also use a set of pliers or 2 different tongs if you have the skill set, maybe even chopsticks if you're creative enough. The key is you want to have both tongs to be able to fit into each of the notches on each side. You can tighten it, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, to ensure that they go in. Once that you have them tightened into both parts in the back, you should be able to twist the watch case back, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, to expose the movement. Once you have exposed the movement, ensure that you place the case back in a safe location and identify the battery. This instance, the battery has a plastic case protecting it. And so in order to not break the case back, just conduct a visual inspection around to see if this comes out or if there's another way. In this instance, if you look closely, you can see that there's a small lever back here to pop out the case back. In this instance, I'm using a spring bar remover tool and just the pointed end to help pop out the battery. Make sure you're being careful during this portion so that you're not damaging the movement of the watch. Here we see that we actually have a 6 to 6S movement, or battery. Very, very small. But in this instance, I was able to get some of these batteries ahead of time by Googling the watch, and let's get that changed out. So place the old battery to the side so we don't get it confused with the new one. Bring out a new set of batteries and reinsert the battery, being sure to be careful not to damage the movement. The other thing I think is always good to do is, when possible, after inserting the battery, go back to the front to just check the movement. As we can tell by the second hand moving, the new battery is working, and so now we can place back on the case back. Because it's a screw down, obviously applying pressure is not the key. And so you can twist a little bit with your hand just to get it in place. And then you want to go back to your tool, same way that you removed it, but this time going the opposite direction. Ensuring that it's properly seated so that it smoothly goes back onto the watch. Ensure you tighten the case back firmly to ensure that there is no extra air so that water will get in your watch, reducing your water resistance level. There will be no audible sound, but you should be able to tell by the tightness. Then just conduct a quick visual inspection of the watch to ensure that there are no gaps within the case. The last case back that we'll go to is the coin case back, which is my favorite and the easiest. So with these cases, you literally just have to use something such as a coin, insert it, and with Timex, they have a great little diagram to go open and close. And in some of these, it actually shows you what kind of battery it is on here. As you see here, we're able to expose the battery and see the battery type. Now we're going to go ahead and remove this battery and replace it with a new one. Now that we have the new battery, we'll carefully insert it underneath the movement there. And like I said, you don't need to use one of these. You can use your hands. I just prefer to use it just because it makes it easier for recording sake, and you guys can see a little bit clearly. And I got sloppy fingers, and I don't want to mess anything up. Sure, the battery's placed back in place. And in this instance, you can look at the sub-dial and see that the second hand is working. What you can do is place the case back or battery cap in place and turn, following the diagram. And once again, making sure you have a tight, you screw it in tight so it doesn't reduce the water resistance. And once again, I'm gonna take a look back at the front of the dial. I see that the second hand is moving so that we were able to get it to work. Hopefully by the end of this, now your watch is working and your battery is replaced. If your watch is still not working, maybe this is the time to take it to a watch repair shop from a local jeweler to see if there's further issues other than just the battery. Next, if you thought this video was helpful and you want to help others, go ahead and hit like, as that will help the YouTube algorithm know that this is the kind of content that helped others. I thank you guys so much. You could have been anywhere in the world and you chose to be with me. So I hope that you and your family and your watch are blessed moving forward. God bless and peace.